the majority of the workforce in network marketing are females. So the first thing that I said when I came into this industry was, we need to change that. And I've been working hard over the last 6 years to help develop more female leaders in the industry. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job at that. One of the things that I decided when I came in was that I was never going to teach scripts. I hate scripts because I don't talk like you and you don't talk like me. So if I give you a script, you're going to go off and copy and paste language that isn't yours to a person that you don't talk to like that. So one of the things that I decided when I came in, and I have done over the last 6 years, is I teach language skills.
Hello, everyone. We have a new series when it comes to our podcast. And before I want to introduce the person, I want to have a very quick question. Why are so many women inside of network marketing, but at the top, they are just men?
Good question. Do you know what? I noticed this when I came into the industry. I could see all of the men that were on the stages, all of the speakers that were on the stages were men. And I know, and you know, and everybody knows the majority of the workforce in network marketing are females. So the first thing that I said when I came into this industry was, we need to change that. And I've been working hard over the last 6 years to help develop more female leaders in the industry. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job at that.
Cool. So I think that's the perfect topic to start with, because this is why I wanted to speak with you, Leah. I saw you on the stage of Fraser. I really loved your talk. And then I came to you and said, Leah, I need to interview you because you represent a species, woman in the industry. The room is full of women, but we see so less women being on stage. You see so many men being there on the top, but actually, like you said, most of the work is done by women. And I think the industry is very beautiful to empower these kind of women. So, Leah, I think the best thing is you would introduce yourself. Tell me, what's your background? How did you end up in network marketing? And what is your way?
Yeah, I would love to. So my name's Leah Lockett. I'm 36, almost 37. I know I don't look it, but I've had lots of Botox, guys. But my background is actually corporate real estate. So I went to university, got the degree, climbed the corporate ladder, did the checklist that they give us in school. And as I was ticking these boxes, the higher up the corporate ladder I got, the less fulfilled I was feeling with my life. I was making decent money in corporate. I was quite high up that corporate ladder. But the first thing that I realized, the closer I got to the top of it, was there was actually a glass ceiling at the top of that ladder. I couldn't earn much more than I was earning without owning the company at the point that I was at, which was at 30 years of age. And I made millions for the company that I worked for. The year that I left, I made £13 million for the company and for my department. So I was the top performing department in a male dominated industry as well. And I'll come on to that in a minute. And I went in for my pay review and my bonus. And, I sat down and rubbed my hands together and imagined how big the bonus would be and the pay rise was going to be. And I was told, Leah, you've done a great job. Your department is super profitable, but actually the company hasn't performed this year. And so we're really proud of you, but we're not doing bonuses. And we're giving you a 0.5% pay rise, which was about, I think, £85 a month. And I'd been working after I'd netted it back with tax. And I'd been working, 15-hour days, some days Monday to Friday. And I walked out of the office and I thought, what a load of beep. I've literally sacrificed my life for this company. I'm profitable. I've done all of the things. And I'm not being rewarded for it. And funny story, somebody had approached me about my company 4 months before. Now, I used to think that I was above network marketing. I always say I used to be a network marketing hater and now I'm a network marketing educator because I did not understand what network marketing was. I didn't have a great perception of it. I'd seen it done terribly. And so I never took this message seriously from the girl. The only thing that sparked my interest was my product in my company. So I am service based. We operate in the travel space. I travel as much as possible, and I used to back then. It was a service, and not just a service, a need for most people that everybody already did, spent money on, posted about on socials for free. And so that was really the only thing that got me to take a look at it. And after I walked out of the pay review, as if by magic, this girl popped up on my Instagram again. She was 10 years younger than I was, and she was getting off a plane, telling everybody that she'd just earned money back on the trip that she booked anyway. And I popped her a DM and said, "Show me that thing." When I looked at the model and I saw what was possible, I thought, what could I do if I put in the time and effort I've just put in to make somebody else millions? And the answer was make myself millions.
Nice, nice. So, what was your perception about network marketing when you heard it the first time? Because that is, I think, some people might have the same. So, what was yours, and why did it shift?
Yeah. So I always like to say I am the anti-hey hun because I'd seen a lot of hey hun messages where people were trying to sell a product or sell a service or hit their next rank up. And the whole thing felt a little bit like the Instagram door-to-door salespeople because that was the way that I'd seen it done. Now,
Mhm.
in order for me to take a look at it, I am from a corporate background. I had to look at it like a business owner and not just somebody that was treating it like a side hustle and an Instagram thing. So, really, that was down to me changing the perception that I had from when I'd seen it done badly. Now, one of the things that I decided when I came in was that I was never going to teach scripts. I hate scripts. Because I don't talk like you and you don't talk like me. So if I give you a script, you're going to go off and copy and paste language that isn't yours to a
Mhm.
person that you don't talk to like that. So one of the things that I decided when I came in, and I have done over the last 6 years, is I teach language skills. I teach people how to speak to people, like people, and solve other people's problems. So I kind of tweaked the way I'd seen it done and turned it into a system. And that has been how I have scaled at the rate I've scaled. And I am so proud to say that about 95% of my organization are women. And the majority of the top income earners in my company are female.
Nice, 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 nice. So, you travel seems really women are ruling the space. That's
Yes.
cool. That's really cool. So, the interesting part for me is like you. So, was your the person you signed up with, was she super successful, or what was the one thing that attracted you that you say like, was it just the right moment because you feel unhappy in your position and there was like also timing? Or was it that you were looking up to her because she has a life you wanted to have?
It was a combination of both. Now,
Okay.
she was successful in the company at the time, as in she'd hit a few ranks. She was also 10 years younger than I am, and she was living a life that I wasn't. And I thought, where did I go wrong? I followed the checklist they gave me. I've got the degree, I've gone to work every day, I've climbed this corporate ladder, and I'm begging for annual leave. And this girl who's 20 years of age is on a plane, off a plane, on a sun lounger, And I was like, what? Something's not right here. So, one, it was lifestyle, but two,
Mhm.
it was definitely timing. The thing I always teach to people is people's circumstances change very often, usually every 6 to 12 months. Something will happen in somebody's life that will make them reevaluate a need that they have. That could be, the loss of a job. It could be the meeting that I went into with a pay rise that I didn't get. It could be relationships changing. It could be change of location. And so this is why that constant relationship building and exposures online are so important. Had she not posted that day at that time when I came out of that office, I might still be sat in it.
Yeah, okay, that's funny and also a thing that I think everyone should remember when you're in this industry. Um, you need to go out and tell what you're doing, otherwise you could miss so many chances because right now there are thousands, hundred thousands of people looking for the right fit, but
Yeah,
if you don't radiate somehow, they will might find someone else because the other one is just active. So
yeah.
now the interesting question comes, okay, what should women do specific women do to become successful in this industry?
So one of the things that I think women should do is be women. I think too often they can get caught up in the way males do things. Now, I'm big on human psychology and the way we operate. Now, women actually have the edge with sales. And this is because of the way we operate. We have more empathy. We pause more and think about the other person. It's normal for us to nurture relationships. This is your edge in network marketing. Men tend to, hunt, gather, close. These are the age-old things that run between men and women. We nurture and grow things. Now you are in the relationship business as a woman, which means you're nurturing and growing relationships with other people. When you start to use that superpower, and it is a superpower, you actually have the edge over men because we connect easier. We're softer, we're, more approachable, we're chatty as women. Men don't tend to be like that by default. And so it's nurturing those relationships and growing them. The other thing as a woman that you can do is transfer things like belief and empathy into others. Your whole job as a female is to project that onto somebody else and help that happen. And the number one thing that will build your network marketing business is community. And as females, we love community. We want to be around other women. We want to see other people win. We clap when it happens. And so that deep sense of community where, I've got so many mums in my team, and I am not a mom, but I can speak on behalf of the conversations that I have day in and day out. When women tend to go into motherhood, they can feel like they've lost themselves. They can feel like a loss of identity. This friendship circle starts to dwindle maybe a little bit. And network marketing doesn't just create income for those mums that are at home with the kids. It also creates community where they can be understood around other people that are in the exact same position. And so when you work on making that community as a female and working out how you can problem solve for other females, that will become your superpower.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that you say that there's a big difference between men and women, and I also see that very often that sometimes women try to become the better men, and then they become super hard. They become like rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
Actually, why do you want to compete with us? Um, when you have other superpowers, we
Yeah.
as men would love to see that, but because the other part we are not good at, we don't need someone who tries to be a better man instead of
Yeah.
just be more the women side because that brings a complete different
Harmony.
energy inside of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But where, why would you say still have women so much trouble or challenges to become successful? Is that, would you say, like that's a little bit um, in their identity and how they raised, or what would you say where is the point where a lot of women should focus on her inner work also instead of just like talk to people?
Yeah, I think this is something that comes from society, honestly. We've always
Mm.
been told, don't be too much and don't be too loud, and men won't like it if you're this, and people won't like it if you're that. And so, as women, I think the majority of us have been taught to shrink and also to give, give, and give and give. And using motherhood as an example, you give years and years of your life to husband, to raising the family, and still be expected to hold a career down at this point. And so you can sacrifice yourself at the expense of others as a female. And I think that has been drilled into us from a young age. So when it comes down to then choosing yourself and choosing to do something for you, all of those limiting beliefs can start to kick in. So one of my team actually uses this as an example quite often, and I think it's perfect to go with this. Think of action as your left leg, and think of personal development as your right leg. If you only take action, you will walk around in a circle to the left. If you only do inner work, self development, you will walk around in a circle to the right, and you'll never get to where you're trying to get to. If you take one bit of each every single day, what will happen is you'll start to move forward in the direction of the goal. Now, um, self-development is something that I had to do a lot of when I came into this. I mentioned it before, but I'm ex-corporate. I ran a team of men. And so, like you just said, I'd got into being hugely masculine, and it had to be, because who would take me seriously running a team of men on a building site? So when I got into network marketing, I had to go the other way. Most people are trying to find a balance where they're trying to get some of that masculine energy to go with their balanced feminine, whereas I definitely had to tune it in that way. So personal development was something that had I not done, I wouldn't be where I am. And I want to tell you all this as well. Network marketing is more valuable than any degree you will ever go and do anywhere, because this is the only industry that forces you, if you choose to grow with it. And I always say network marketing is a self development journey with a compensation plan attached to it. The
Mhm.
higher up the self development journey you go, the more you can earn, but you can never out earn your capacity for growth. And so you really have to embrace the change with it. And it's at breakneck speed. I am not the same person that I was 2 months ago. I won't be the same person in 2 weeks. But unfortunately, as somebody that went through traditional education, we got told to stop learning at 18. Nobody ever told us to go and self-develop, to get better, to work on personal skills. And actually, here you'll be encouraged to do that. And that's why I love this industry so much.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it always was also one thing because I was loving to go to self-development stuff. And then I entered in network marketing, and then I found out network marketing is the best and the cheapest self-development you can get.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
beautiful part is sometimes your personality grows and sometimes your business grows. It's something
Yes.
like, and if your business is not growing, yeah, your personality has a huge potential to grow. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the beautiful part of.
It
Um,
is.
so coming to this, if I'm at the moment in a place where I said, hey, I started a bit, I have this big dream, but I didn't get the real traction. So like I'm a little bit stuck in the middle. So I make a little, which is too much to quit, but
Yeah.
it's also at the point where it's like, yeah, it's not a living, it's just like it's a bit, but it's
Mhm.
just like still this hustle at the beginning. And I think, or at least I experienced that you need to have some hustle at the beginning to rather get the skills or rather to get some kind of success because that the success helps you. What would you say to someone if he's in this position at the moment? Where should they focus on, and what kind of, because self-development is huge topic, and then
Yeah.
some people get lost in self-development because then they said, oh, I don't need anything anymore, I go on an island and blah blah blah, or I have to find myself. I have to travel the
Yeah.
world for 5 years, and then at the end, okay, what did you found? Yeah, I don't have any purpose. Okay, cool. Let's figure out. Let's get more practical. What would you say? Where could people look at? What would be the one thing you would go for? And how can they get through this gap, the horrible middle or the lonely?
Yeah, the dip. The infamous dip. Look, it's really easy for this to happen. The dip is where the real leaders are made. You can start out super excited about your business, climb, have a bit of success, and then when it doesn't take off at the trajectory that you wanted it to, you kind of sit in this middle part going, I don't know what to do now. And there's a couple of things that happen in that dip. Number one is you've got stuck in management mode. So, like, I would ask you to look at what you are actually doing with your day. 9 times out of 10, if this ever happens with one of my leaders or my team, I'll make them do an audit of what they did for me over a week. And then I'll sit with them and say, that wasn't income producing. That wasn't income producing. That wasn't income producing. And so none of these things are actually moving the needle. So sometimes you've got to get brutally honest with, are you actually doing what you need to be doing? Go back to day one thinking is the next thing. If you've had a bit of success, you know what to do. But for some reason, you've stopped doing it, maybe because you've started getting on all the Zoom calls and going to all the events and taking all of the notes and doing none of the implementing. So I see this so often. People come
Mhm.
into, I'm so fired up. I'm so fired up after the Zoom. And then in the morning, they're like, snooze the alarm, I can't be bothered today. So it's about taking immediate action. One of the things that you'll hear from me a lot if you've ever heard me speak is this: the learning is in the doing. It's not in the watching. It isn't in the listening. It's not in the consumption of things. It's in the practice of them. And so when you feel like you're in a dip, ask yourself, what was the last thing that you implemented to get out of it? And day one thinking is critical as well. If you've got a team, sometimes you can overwhelm new people with all of this stuff that you've just started learning, and they just need to be in day one. And when you've got a lot of people that are still in day one, guess what happens? You start to climb out of that dip really slowly but surely, and then compound from there. And look, I have to do this sometimes. I'm like, what? I go back to day one often. And when I say day one, I mean I'm still doing the thing now that I was doing 6 years ago. Yes, I've got more skilled at it. Yes, it's a lot easier for me. Yes, my social media is much bigger. There's more people to speak to. But the principles of what I was doing then are still the fundamentals of what I do today.
Great, great, cool. So, your story sounds so easy, and the bad part is that most people don't see how much it took to get at this point. And because I really want to understand and help everyone to understand, especially for me, is like, what was the biggest challenge you had in your business, and what was your biggest also your hardest time, and how did
Yeah.
you overcome them?
The biggest challenge for me was right at the beginning when I got my
Yeah.
head into this industry and I saw that I could get time freedom, I could get location freedom, the choice of picking my own hours, working when I wanted to, from where I wanted to, and financial freedom. I was so hell bent on going in the direction of all three of those things that I tried to carry people with me. I wanted
Mm.
it so badly for myself that I tried to just drag everyone else with me. And one of the hardest things for me was actually realizing I had to leave some people. They didn't want to come with me. They weren't going to do the work, and they didn't have the belief and the vision or maybe the work ethic that I had to even do 10% of what I was going to. But for a long time, I tried to motivate people that didn't want to be motivated. And so one of my favorite sayings is, it's easier to give birth than it is to resurrect the dead.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I
Yes.
was trying to resuscitate people that didn't want to be here for a long time. And so, as somebody that wanted everybody to win and still does want everybody to win, I kind of have to look at the reality of if you're not going to do what needs to be done, there's really nothing that I can do to help at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, cool. So, what would be the one thing you would, or interesting question. Um, if you would start, it's always the same question. If you would start new from zero, what would you do? And if you would have the chance to leave yourself a message 6 years ago, what would you write on this paper to give you a tip or a hint that could make your life maybe even easier?
Okay, perfect. So if I started at zero, would I have no social media followers and no team?
Of course,
Okay, so I'm starting brand new from tomorrow. The first
like
thing, first
giving birth and coming to the world and
again,
said, I should start network marketing. So how
okay.
would you start? Or if you would come in a new city within nobody knows you and you can give yourself a message, but how would you start?
Okay, right. The first thing I would do is build a personal brand.
Okay.
Personal brand is the most underrated thing that people aren't using. When you do that, what you can do is collect network online. One of the things maybe some of you have said that are listening, or definitely your team have said, is I've got nobody to talk to. And I'm like, what? Sorry, what? There's 5 billion people on social media. What do you mean you have nobody to talk to? So, your network is something that you constantly have to be growing. So, let me give you 3 personal brand tips. Have 3 themes that run through your socials. Not the themes that I'm using, not the themes that Sasha uses. It's called personal brand for a reason. It's personal to you. So sometimes people will say, Leah, but I'm boring. I don't do anything. How can I post about a personal brand? And I'm like, post about how boring you are if that's your personal brand. Post about the things that you're not doing and show other people that there's other people out there that are just like you, whether you think there are or there aren't. So pick 3 things that are super personal to you and build a brand off the back of them. And I would be flooding social media with those 3 things so that I could find my niche and find my audience and start to connect with them from there. The other thing that I don't think people grasp is what social media is. It
Mhm.
literally says it on the tin. People are posting media in order to be social around it. And so social media is your best friend for building a network from zero if you utilize it correctly. And then if I could send myself a message from 6 years ago, I would tell myself that everything you're thinking is possible is possible. And because when I came in, I sat and looked at the compensation plan and, did my number crunching. And I thought, and a lot of people around me, actually, my mum included, by the way, everybody, told me that I was throwing my life away because I have a degree. I've got a degree. I'm super well respected. I've climbed really high up this corporate ladder. My ex fiance, who is an ex for a reason, also told me, yes, also told me, don't do that. You'll never get anywhere. You make enough money as it is. And I would send myself a letter from in 6 years' time saying, you are capable of exactly what you think you are. So block out the noise. One of my favorite things to tell my team is stop taking advice to people closest to you and start taking advice from people closest to your goals. My mum did not have a bank account that I wanted to swap with or a job. She still works to this day at the age of 55 until she was retired by me. Would still be working had I listened to that information. So don't listen to people that are closest to you. They haven't been where you're going, and therefore they're not in the best position to give you any advice on that. Listen to the ones that are walking the path. the ones that know what it takes. And that would have shut down a lot of the external noise at the beginning for me.
Nice, nice. That was, yeah, really valuable. I think if everyone who listened to it is like, yeah, shit, it's so simple. I just have to execute, and then yeah, that's the beautiful part. I think always in network marketing, it sounds simple, but of course, on the other hand, it's hard work. It's also
Yeah.
hard work. It's not like say, hey, yeah, just post three themes, yeah, but you have to be consistent. You have to
Yes.
find your voice, and sometimes you have to do the things even you don't feel like doing them, and that's I think the differentiator between people who become successful and people who would like to become successful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leah,
And the
that was, yeah,
Oh, sorry, I was just going to add something to that. The other thing
yes, please.
with this is, at the beginning, it can feel like that building that personal brand and having those conversations. They're not going to pay you right away either, and people forget about this. I'm still getting paid on work that I did 6 years ago, 6 years
Mm,
later. Sometimes a conversation that I had 4 years ago will pay me this week because nothing happened for 4 years. So it's a lot of faith network marketing because it isn't a job. At the end of my monthly, every month at work, I got a salary, but here I got something that was going to compound and continue to compound. You have to get out of that employee mindset and get into the entrepreneurial one because this is not a job. And yes, you're going to be overworked and underpaid at the beginning. And that's so that you can get further down the line where, I'm getting paid on hours that don't exist in the day because of the network that I've grown. So that's what you need to be thinking about.
yes, yeah, cool. So at the end, I want to ask you, I think five, six, seven questions, and your goal would be like to answer it short with maybe one or two sentence.
Okay,
Are you ready?
ready.
Perfect. Why fail so many people in network marketing?
So many people fail in network marketing because they're not willing to come in and do the self-development that goes with it. I also think that sometimes people undersell what they have access to and the work that's involved with it, and that's on us to change.
Cool. Yeah. What do you hate in network marketing?
I hate spammy copy and paste messages that people send to everybody. I think it gives the industry a terrible rep and we should do better.
Is social media overrated or underrated in network marketing?
Social media is underused and undereducated on in network marketing. People need to learn how to use it better and more responsibly in order to connect with others.
Would you say you need network or you need social media to build a business in network marketing?
No, you don't need social media. You can go outside. There are people outside. I've seen them everywhere. You could build this the way that it used to be done, which was belly to belly, face to face. I think that we need a mixture of both of them, is my honest opinion. Connect online, get them offline as quick as possible.
Yeah. Um, will AI disturb the industry?
AI won't disturb the industry. AI can never be human. The whole point of our industry is relationships, community, and humans connecting with other humans. It will help us to scale our industry, but it's definitely not taking it away.
Okay, cool. So, what did success cost you?
Success cost me every version of myself that I was meant to leave behind, and I am okay with that.
What was the best month you made?
I think probably about 70K.
Nice. Great. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
I think it was very valuable. Leah, I thank you very much. I'm looking forward to see you on the next event. And
Yeah,
yeah, thank you for this interview.
no problem. Thanks for having me.